Hello and welcome to our lesson for today. Today we are going to see the importance of effective communication. Now, in this topic, we are going to learn the following. What are the importance of effective communication? What is the effective communication itself? There are multiple reasons why you should sharpen your communication skills. Some of them include the following. For example, getting a job you want, you must have effective communication skills for you to express yourself well, and the communication will be better. 2. Boosting your chances for promotion. Where you work, you must have good communication skills to communicate with your seniors or juniors. 3. Helping others to get ahead. Helping you get things done, benefiting your own business. For example, when you have a business, you should know how to communicate with your customers or your clients or your workers. Advancing your social. This means that advancing you socially means you should communicate with others positively. You should know how to react with people. And lastly, ensuring your future. Now, what is effective communication? What does effective communication involve? Definition of communication. What is communication? Communication is a process by which messages are sent and received. It can also be defined as the transfer of a message from the sender to a receiver, that who then gives a feedback. Remember, for communication to be effective, there must be feedback. There must be a sender, medium for communication. That is the means of communication, and the feedback, sender and feedback. For communication to take place, there has to be the following: an acceptance of the message. The receiver of the message must understand the language that is being used. You must know the language that the receiver is understanding well. The receiver must take action. That is understanding the message and giving feedback. That is the result of communication. Now, that is the feedback. As the sender of the message, you must make sure that the receiver will behave in the desired way. Communication thus involves more than just sending an information packet from one person to another. Communication involves a process of sharing information. What we need to share information? What do we consider when we want to share an information with your friend or anybody? 1. Consider what will say. That is the message itself. What is the message you want to send? Number 2, when will say it? When will you say it? Communication setting. Number 3, how will you say it? That is now the medium. That is the medium of sending. Number 4, anticipate the effect of our message will have on the receiver. That's the feedback. Which type of feedback do you anticipate to get? Now let's see at the elements of communication. For effective communication to take place, the following elements must be present. 1. The sender. This is the person sending the message. The sender initiates the communication. Number two, the message itself. The message is what the sender communicates to the receiver. The communication itself. What are you saying to the sender? What message are you sending to the sender? To the receiver, I mean. Number three is the channel. How will the message get to the receiver? This means the message to transmit This means the means to transmit the message from the sender to the receiver. Number five, the receiver himself or herself. The receiver is the person who receives the message. Now, this is the person who interprets your message and gives you feedback. And the last is the feedback itself. This is the response now from the receiver. Okay, now let's see to the communication process. A clear understanding of the communication process is helpful in facilitating effective communication. The communication starts with the sender who has a message or information to transmit. The sender then encodes or packages his or her messenger in a way that the recipient can best understand. Now, this is the process of making your message simple for the receiver to understand and interpret in the correct way. The message is sent through a channel medium. This is now the medium for transmitting the message from the sender to the receiver. The receiver then decodes the message and provides feedback to the sender. The decodation process is now the process of interpreting your message in the correct way, and now provides the feedback. Feedback is the response of receiver. The feedback completes the communication process. Now, after the receiver provides feedback, the correct feedback to the sender, back to the sender. Now that completes the communication to be effective communication. Now let's see at this communication process. Now we have the sources of encodes. We have a lot of sources to encode the message. This is now the sender who does this encoding. Number two, we have the channel or medium. This is what transmits the message to the receiver. And number three, we have the receiver. He decodes, comprehends, and interprets the message. And after he or she interprets the message, he provides a response, which is the feedback. Now we have the feedback down here. And then after providing feedback now to the sender, that means the communication is effective. And now this we have noise at the middle of this process. Noise is a barrier to communication. We have a lot of barriers of communication, but here we have given noise as a barrier. Noise can destroy the message. Okay, this is still the process of communication. You have the sender or the encoder. You have the encoding process of this is the writing of the message, or if it is orally, this is the process of now saying the message itself. The message media. We have a lot of medium for communication. And the next is the coding process. This is the process of interpreting, receiving, and interpreting the message. And then we have the receiver, the person receiving the message. Then the response, the receiver gives the response and feedback to the sender. So now here at the feedback, the receiver then chooses another means or the same means of communication back to the sender. We have given the barriers noise again. Okay, we have the stages in communication process. We have around four stages of communication process. One is conception of the message. This now takes place at the receiver. At the receiver, sender's place. The source or the sender of the message has an idea that he wishes to communicate. He makes the decision to send the message as a result of impulse, thought, or external stimulus. Number two is encoding the message. He chooses the medium through which the message will be sent and also about the message content. Here, he chooses the appropriate language, which may be oral, written, word, picture, or non-verbal. Selection of the communication channel. That is the stage number three. A channel is a vehicle or medium by which the message is passed on to the audiences. The sender makes an intelligent decision on the channel through which the message will travel. For example, electronic equipment is like fax, telephone, email, and others. For you to select or choose an appropriate channel, ask yourself the following questions. Am I going to communicate by words, pictures, or both? Which medium or channel would be most appropriate by the audience? Written or spoken, a letter or personal chat? Written medium or channel, memo, for example, memo, report form, letter, or others. Spoken medium. Now, for spoken medium, we have face-to-face meetings, interviews, presentations, or using telephone. Visual and audio visual mediums are like charts, tables, diagrams, and slides. Okay, now we have the factors to consider in selecting a channel. What do we consider before selecting a channel for communication? One, we have distance. Maybe the receiver is in a long distance or a short distance. You have to choose the distance of communication for you to select a medium that will get to the receiver in short time. Number two is the type of the message. Is it confidential, urgent? Is it complexity? So for confidential, you have to choose the medium that is a bit confidential. Urgent, you have to choose a medium that takes a short time to reach to the receiver. And complexity, you have to choose a medium that the message will reach at the receiver's desk fully without any alteration. And then number three, you have availability of the channel. You have to choose at the channel which is available to you. You have not to struggle to get a channel. You have to choose the available one. Number three is the cost of the media. You will choose the media that you will afford. And number five is the type of receivers. You have to understand your receiver well for the communication to be effective. Okay. You may have come up with the following. Are the audience together or dispersed? Are they computer literate or not? Are they many or few? What is the physical ability? The decision on the type of channel must be made very wisely before dispatching the message. No matter what channel is used, there will be distortion or interference. For example, noise. This is now the barriers to communication. Noise is the case. In this case, is anything that interferes with the message, causing breakdown. It is not necessarily physical noise, and other many barriers to communication. Okay, now another stage is transmission. The message is transferred to the receiver through the selected channel. At this stage, there is possibility of the message being interfered with by noise. Number 5 is the reception. This is the physical act of receiving the message through any of the 6 senses: hearing, touching, tasting, seeing, and smelling. Then number 6 is decoding. The coding of the message involves the receiver in trying to assign meaning to the language used as he or she relates the language to his knowledge or terms and vocabularies. Number 7 is comprehension. This takes place when the receiver tries to spend moments to absorb the meaning and understand the technical jargon used by the sender. Number 8 is the interpretation. This is similar to what is loosely termed as reading between the lines. This means that you as the receiver should search out the underlying meaning. Take sufficient time to reflect on the message. For example, contemplate this. I know what you said, but exactly what did you mean? Yes. Number 9 is the feedback or response. The receiver reacts to the message by encoding his response in a language that the sender can understand. It could be written, symbols, spoken or non-verbal. It transmits it back to the originator, who is the sender of the message. The receiver goes through the same communication process as the sender had done. Only when this cycle is completed can communication be said to have been effective. The best way to know if the message had the desired effect on the receiver is by encouraging feedback. Thank you, and let's meet